Receive immediate help with the balance with the new hydrodynamic technology. MEDICOVI's water-filled hydrodynamic insoles provide an immediate improvement in balance for the majority of Parkinson's patients. As something completely new, the insoles counteract the loss of balance, which is a result of the reduced production of dopamine, a completely automatic and mechanical function which occurs immediately when the insoles are within the shoes. The new patented technology, which has its basis in the hydrodynamic water-filled insoles, paves a new path for immediate help with the balance for Parkinson's patients. Through the ultra-fast water movements, a powerfully enhanced effect occurs in the sensory nerves of the sole of the foot, which affects the balance center of the brain with a faster and clearer signal about the body's movement. This will immediately improve the balance for most Parkinson's patients, like here with Inge and Henning. Henning Frederiksen was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2013. There are several things that springs to mind when you suffer from Parkinson's disease, says Henning, and continues, one is the exhaustion and the other is the balance. And that is exactly where the insoles that MEDICOVI recommend can be used. When I had the insoles in the shoes, it turned out quite fast that the pressure under the foot was distributed better on the ball of the foot, which means that the exhaustion is not as devastating as it would normally be. Secondly, when I tested it for balance, it turned out that the balance was actually far better. I could, compared to what I've been able to do previously, stand on one leg, and that was a very satisfying feeling to get. So I've been very happy with these insoles, and I've used them constantly for the past 3 to 4 months, 5 months, so I can only warmly recommend them. Inge Holtz Sørensen is 66 years old and was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2009. Inge had big problems with getting out and walking, which she really wanted to, without hurting the legs and calves. So I've tried some insoles which has helped me immensely, explains Inge, and continues. After using them for a month, I can walk close to 7 kilometers, and I can walk on cobblestones without feeling anything in the feet and the calves. Therefore, I would like to recommend that others use these insoles because they have helped me greatly, both with the balance but also with my sore feet and legs. Inge's husband Kurt explains, we always walk hand in hand so I can support Inge. Before Inge started using the insoles, I could clearly feel in my hand that Inge needed this support. At the same time, when we walked to town, I always had to make sure that we walked on even surfaces. This meant that we sometimes had to make big detours off to the side of the road or sidewalk. After Inge started using the MEDICOVI insoles, I can no longer feel Inge's balance complications in the hand, and we can walk anywhere in town without having to consider the paving of the road. The balance center of the brain maintains the balance with help from the information about the position of the body, constantly provided by the sensory nerves. With this information, the balance center uses the motile nerves to activate the muscle movements needed for bringing the body back to a state of equilibrium. The more powerful and clear the sensory nerves of the sole of the foot affects the balance center, the better and with greater security the balance center can activate the balance maintaining muscle movements, which results in better balance. Parkinson's disease causes a reduction of dopamine cells in the brain. The neurotransmitter dopamine uses the balance system to achieve the optimal connection between the sensory and the motile nerves, so the balance maintaining muscles can be put into motion at optimal efficiency. As the disease reduces the dopamine producing cells, the activation of the balance maintaining muscle movements will become slower and more inaccurate, which causes poorer balance. The poorer balance causes a larger sway, which means that more force is needed to maintain balance. This means that you will become tired faster when walking, and that the risk of falling increases. In the hydrodynamic insoles, the smallest change in the body's position will cause an ultra-fast water movement to occur in the insole, which powerfully enhances the effect on the sensory nerves of the sole of the foot. The balance system will thereby receive a faster and clearer signal of the body's movement. For the Parkinson's patient, this means that a far greater activity is initiated in the balance center, where some of the loss of information which is lost due to the lack of dopamine is recovered. This means that the balance center will become better at controlling the balance maintaining muscles by using the motile nerves, which immediately improves the balance. You can easily feel how the ultra-fast water movements in the MEDICOVI D40 provides a powerfully enhanced effect on the sensory nerves. If you place your fingers of one hand on the MEDICOVI D40, as shown in the picture, and press slightly with a finger of the other hand on the heel of the sole, you will immediately be able to feel how ultra-fast water movement affects the sensory nerves in all the fingers that are in contact with the insole. If you conduct the same experiment with an ordinary insole, you will naturally only feel the effect on the sensory nerves of the fingertips in the area within the red circle. It is the special patented construction of the hydrodynamic insole which creates the ultra-fast and enhanced physical effect of the sensory nerves of the sole of the foot. We use water in the insole because water, as opposed to gel, has the necessary fast flow behavior which makes it possible to activate the sensory nerves fast enough to improve the balance and prevent falling. Unlike other insoles filled with fluid, the sides of the insoles are constructed of a membrane of very stiff foils that contain the water. During duress, the insoles will then develop such a great hydraulic pressure in the water that a water film is pressed under the surface of the sole of the foot. This will affect a great amount of the sensory nerves with even the smallest movement of the body. The balance improving ability of the MEDICOVI insoles are scientifically confirmed through a study made by the Center of Sensory Motor Interaction, University of Aalborg, under the direction of Professor Pascal Madeleine and Professor Uwe Kirsting. This scientific study documents the mechanical and automatic, static and dynamic balance improving ability of the MEDICOVI insoles. We measure the balance with electronic measuring insoles. We measure the change of the center of pressure, which corresponds to the body's center of gravity, projected down onto the surface of the foot. A measuring program performs a calculation of the center of pressure, 70 times per second. Thereafter, the program deposits a mark on the picture of an illustrated foot. 70 small marks is deposited per second, which develops a curve. This curve displays the measurement of the right foot in the drive of the professional PGA golf coach Klaus Walter. We will now show that the hydrodynamic insole's balance improving effect is so ultra fast that the insoles can improve the balance of Klaus Walter in the act of performing the golf swing, which only lasts 0.8 of a second. It can be problematic for a particularly disabled Parkinson's patient to evaluate the situation of their own balance as relevant in comparison to that of a top athlete. However, the example clearly presents the significant balance improving effect of the insoles. Klaus Walter's drive or swinging movement takes approximately 0.8 of a second. This means that the balance measurements we are showing now correspond to the movement of the center of pressure, which happens during 0.8 of a second. We are here showing the balance measurement on the right foot with MEDICOVI D40 for 2 drives, where we have superimposed the balance curves for the two drives on each other. Comparably, we are here showing the balance measurement on the right foot for two drives with ordinary golf insoles, where we have likewise superimposed the balance curves on each other. The balance measurements clearly demonstrate that the MEDICOVI D40 can regulate the balance within milliseconds. The only difference between the four drives being Klaus Volter changing between wearing D40 and the ordinary golf insoles. With MEDICOVI D40, the figures are almost identical, which indicates a great consistency and security in the movement and therewith a good balance. Whereas the figures for the ordinary golf insole has a greater discrepancy, which is an indication of variable movements and greater insecurity. MEDICOVI D40 provides therefore Klaus Volter with a significantly improved balance during the drive. Notice that the golf swing takes 0.8 of a second. Within this very limited time frame, the ultra-fast water movements in the MEDICOVI D40 manage to improve the balance in every single small micro movement during the completion of the golf swing itself. This extremely fast reaction time within milliseconds is an absolute necessity when the insoles need to prevent falling and improve the balance for the Parkinson's patient. We will now show a few balance measurements that we have conducted on some Parkinson's patients with and without MEDICOVI D40. Eric Lurker is 80 years old and has been diagnosed with Parkinson's for 18 years. We measure the balance while Eric balances on his right foot only for 3 seconds, first without MEDICOVI D40 and immediately following with the MEDICOVI D40. It is evident that Eric achieves a greater statistical balance on the right foot with MEDICOVI D40 because the balance figures are significantly smaller in the measurements with the MEDICOVI D40. Here is shown the balance measurement for Eric standing on left foot. The balance measurement shows that Eric also achieves a better statistical balance with MEDICOVI D40 on the left foot. Henning Fredriksson was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2013. This measurement was conducted while Henning was walking normally for 4 seconds. It is evident from the measurements that Henning achieves a significantly better balance during walking with MEDICOVI D40 because the curves are closely aligned in the measurements with MEDICOVI D40 compared to the measurements without the MEDICOVI D40. Based on the personal experiences of Parkinson's patients and the many shown balance measurements we have conducted, it is evident that the hydrodynamic MEDICOVI D40 can improve the balance of patients suffering from Parkinson's disease. This was naturally expected based on the scientific study from Aalborg University. The benefits of the balance improving effect will naturally depend on how the disease has developed and how the general physical condition is. Beside the balance improving effect and the reduced risk of falling, the better balance also brings about a lessened tiredness when walking. The development of the hydrodynamic insoles has opened for completely new and dynamic orthopedics. The balance improving ability of the insole leads to a great relief of pain in the ball of the foot and the heel, as well as significantly relieves the knee, hip, and back. The hydrodynamic insole's great pain relief has been of even greater value to many of our patients than the balance improving effect, which is natural. If you are in pain when walking or standing, the pains will also always weigh heavily and the pains will reduce the freedom of movement. Here too comes that the insoles increase the blood circulation in the foot and the sole of the foot, as well as prevent the development of foot ulcers. Collectively, the hydrodynamic insoles provide a very great comfort. This is the first time that you, as a Parkinson's patient, can improve your own balance this easily. You owe this to yourself. The hydrodynamic insoles can be bought at www.parkinsonsmedicovi.com. For optimal usage of the balance improving effect, we recommend that the insoles are changed every 6 months. We thank you for your attention.